It isn't sexist to accurately describe a book's genre. Every so often, a group of people will get upset that Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas is generally shelved as a romance, but it is in fact a romance. It's not sexist to say that. There are some things that people say about A Court of Thorns and Roses and romantasy books that are sexist, but calling ACOTAR a romance is not one of them. People always compare ACOTAR to a Game of Thrones. No other book. It's always a Game of Thrones. And they say, like, a Game of Thrones has graphic sex in it, but it doesn't get labeled romance. And that's true because a Game of Thrones is grimdark. It's about as far from romance as you can get. Fantasy and romance are my genres, especially where they overlap. That's most of what I read as far as fiction goes. If the shoe fits. And ACOTAR is a romance. If you think that it being shelved in romance is sexist, maybe we should unpack the fact that it's okay to write romance. It's okay for a book to be romance. Some people say it's labeled romance because it was written by a woman, but there are a lot of female fantasy authors who have been writing general market fantasy for decades, like forever. If you look at like Robin Hobb, a female fantasy author, and she, like George R. R. Martin, writes grimdark. And I have never seen her books in the romance section ever, but there are romantic subplots in it. Maybe someone somewhere has seen Robin Hobb in the romance section once, but I highly doubt it, and it's definitely not normal. Elizabeth Moon, Mercedes Lackey, like those are female fantasy authors who do write romantic subplots, but they do not write capital R romance the way Sarah J. Maas does. Now, I would agree that Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas is not capital R romance. The reason that one gets shelved in romance a lot, though, is because the publishers have figured out that romantasy is so hot right now. And so they're trying to cram everything into romantasy that they possibly could. I have a real problem with saying ACOTAR being labeled romance is sexist because, one, it presupposes that general market fantasy is better than romance. Two, it assumes that every female fantasy author is getting shelved in romance, which they aren't. And three, it's giving, I'm not like other girls. I'm not like other romance novels. I'm a cool romance novel, and I should be in general market fantasy. General market fantasy is not inherently better. It's not inherently superior. It's not inherently anything. It's just a genre. It's just a description of story expectations. There are, again, a lot of sexist things that people say about ACOTAR, about romantasy books, about romance books, but calling them romance books when that is an accurate description is not one of them.